We are live. What's up? Can everybody hear me good? Can I get a thumbs up that the mic is rocking and we're good? We're live from Raiders headquarters. That's pretty cool. I bet you we're the only live radio show in an NFL headquarters. Which is kind of cool. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving in advance. You can hear me? Great. We're ready to go. I haven't looked at your sound. What do you have, by the way? I need you a little louder. I need you a little louder, Bobby, in my ear. Wow, I don't know why I can barely hear you. That's not good. No, that's better. That's better. Okay. See. Okay. Yep. All right, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Salute to everybody. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving in advance. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. What's up? Out of the gate, JT, as we open up live from Raiders headquarters. How about that? Home of the Silver and Black on the flagship Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. in the Raiders mobile app and on my YouTube live feed, which is up and rocking. And you can see where we're at today. So for those who just listened to the show, thank you. For those who watched the show, you know what we're talking about. We added this element at the end of the summer. And we're excited about it because we're going to build it so people can see the show, see the guests, see what we're doing, and it constantly evolves. This is the biggest, I think, evolution in radio over the last 10 years is the fact that you can have a live stream of your show. I wasn't interested back in the day doing nights and all the platforms I've been on, but now it's a necessity because people want to get 2 minutes of the show. They want clips. They want reels. They want to watch the guests. They want to see what's happening during the commercial breaks, which is cool because I'm able to talk to people. So you can subscribe for free at JT the Brick YT. You should all have YouTube by now, right? I have YouTube TV, which I'll segue into Amazon Prime because as I'm sitting here in Raiders headquarters, right next to me is Amazon. Amazon's here to interview Brock Bowers for the game. That's pretty cool. So they're interviewing Brock Bowers today because they're going to have a feature with him on Amazon coming up on Friday. We had a light discussion about this game being on Amazon coming up on Friday, and Amazon has a massive company. Okay, I've known about Amazon since they went public. As a former stockbroker, if you put $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, which most people in the stock market have $10,000. That's not a big number. Millions is a different story. If you put $10,000 into Amazon when they went public, you would never work again. You'd be retired. You'd have 2 beach houses. Now Amazon is entering television, movies, and they're entering sports because they have more money, they have more resources. So I was talking to a couple of people in the building. Most people don't have Amazon. Now, people think they have Amazon Prime, so they have Amazon. Do you know how many people have Amazon Prime and never turn the channel on once? Don't even know how to do it. They have Amazon Prime because boxes come to their house. I average 11 boxes at my house every day, and they stagger. Some come. I tell this story all the time. My wife will tell me when we go to bed, what do you need? Oh, I don't know. I need toothpaste, deodorant, this. She'll hit it on her phone, and it's there. And they got someone at 3 a.m. coming to my house, dropping it out. So they were eventually going to get involved in sports. But you got to remember, not everybody has the luxuries that you have. We have a lot of people in this country that don't own their homes. They might live in an apartment. They might live in a trailer park. They might live in their parents' home, and they don't have Amazon. They have no ability to watch this game on Friday. So you can hear it on the radio. You know how many people are going to be going, oh, what channel's the game on? Oh, my God, I don't have that channel. And there's going to be a lot of people that have it, and they don't know how to activate the channel. And then there's going to be the rest of us who have it and are going to watch it. So I'd like to get your opinion on this game because I think Eric Allen believes, I don't know if it's true, but Eric Allen believes that we're going to be sitting here watching the Raiders on Black Friday forever. He thinks that should be the Raider holiday, Black Friday, Silver and Black Friday. I'm good with that. I'd like to spend Thanksgiving with my family. I'd be good, and I've got to work on Friday. So I'd like to throw that out as a topic as we open up the show. How do you feel about this game being on Amazon Prime? For the Raiders to be exclusive with Kansas City. Kansas City's got the Swifties. All the Swifties have Amazon Prime because the Swifties are ordering Swiftie bracelets and Swiftie hats and shirts. And the Swifties who've never watched football in their life now say, Mom, Dad, Mom, I want to watch what's the guy's name who's dating Taylor? Oh, yeah, I want to watch him. What channel he's on? And Mom and Dad run and get them remote and go, there's your team. You're a new Kansas City Chief fan. And young girls all over America now are buying their merchandise at a level that's sickening to me. And I like the Swifties. I married one. I always say that. But they're all over the place. You think I'm into this? You think I want to sit here in the headquarters of one of the most recognized franchises, the greatest colors in the history of sports, the greatest logo, and talk about the Swifties? They're real. They tune in. They buy gear. They travel. So I want to beat this team at all costs. And Antonio Pierce, woo! Wait to hear what he said. Now, you know that I've been talking about it just this week. I'm trying to calm down. I've been dealing with the trolls who want to lose every game. Most of them are trolls. They are. They're trolls. They don't walk up to the coach or Max Crosby or me and say they want to lose, but they hide. They hide in the internet, and then they want to lose, right? We'll wait to hear what the coach said today downstairs. Woo! Okay? He ain't tanking. So if you want to tank, Antonio Pierce is around this city. Okay? He don't want to tank. He wants to win this game. I could actually say in a funny way, I think that Antonio Pierce's comments today might have moved the line. I'm serious. I just interviewed him. You're going to hear that coming up. He does my interview exclusively, and then he goes downstairs. And I said, hey, turn that up. I want to hear what he has to say. And he interrupted me at one point in our interview. He interrupted me lightly to talk about how badly he wants this game. Okay, so I don't care if you don't want to win. I don't care about the people who want to lose. I don't care. I care about the people who want to win. I understand why fans want to lose a game at the end of the year, maybe to Jacksonville or to the Chargers if we're going to go from the second pick to first. I get that. And we can deal with it that week. But we're not going to deal with it before Thanksgiving. We're going to try to win this one game. This is the big one. If I told you a month ago that the Raiders would be on this massive losing streak, I think some people would have said, yeah, I expected it. Vegas did. You know how much money the sports books are making on every Raider fan? I told you to go over the total of 6.5. I thought the Raiders would win 8 or 9 games this year. Chalk one up for me. I was wrong. But, you know, this game is the game that every Raider fan wants to win because it was a glorious Christmas last Christmas when the Raiders won. It was a beautiful day in this building, I can tell you. We were jumping up and down. We were going crazy. I had off that night on Christmas night for my Mad Dog show. I drove out of here on Christmas after beating Kansas City, went home. We did presents late, right? We had dinner. I cooked the famous JT chicken cutlets. I only cooked that on Christmas Eve. We had some leftovers, and we had an unbelievable day. That's what I hope happens on Black Friday. I will have a bucket of Modelo's. There'll be some Woodson bourbon whiskey in my house, a little Tito's handmade vodka, and cigars from La Casa Cigars. If the Raiders win this game, I'm going to run out into the middle of my neighborhood and scream Raiders. Not going to do it until they win. I can't scream Raiders if they're not winning. So we'll do that. So if you want to get through, let's preview this game the way we like to do it. 702-365-9200. Big show. Vinny Bonsignore will join me in studio. Vinny looks great. He lost a bunch of weight. He's fit, and he's traveling all over. He's writing unbelievable columns. Vinny joins us here, which you can watch that interview live on JT the Brick YT. Antonio Pierce, the head coach of the Raiders, joins us. Also, Levi Edwards from the digital team. And then our conversation with Rich Gannon. We're going to park that in so you can hear what Rich is doing. And then probably a little portion of the Eric Allen interview that I've been previewing all week since EA's my guy. And he's a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I'm not jinxing anything. I'm not going to jinx anything. But if Eric Allen makes it to the Hall of Fame, I'm going to insist that everybody comes to Canton. Book your tickets. Let's go. And we'll know that at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So he's got to get to the next level along with Steve Wisniewski. We've talked about Lester Hayes, Art Powell, the Raiders who are still left, and how do we get them over the hump. Paul Gutierrez, that'll be our next conversation with him. All right, before we have Vinny up, I want to just say a couple of things that I want to get into the show so callers can call in on things different than the Raiders. First off, last night, my son went to Kansas Duke. It was an incredible game. It was sloppy at times. Cooper Flagg, the 17-year-old, was playing in that game. 17 years old, plays for Duke. He is unbelievable. Now, Hunter Dickinson plays for Kansas, and he's the star of that team. Here's a bucket before he was ejected in the game. Now, that was a bucket for him. I wanted to bring this up. It's a good topic. He's 24 years old. He's playing college basketball. He transferred from Michigan. He's 24 years old. My son, who went to the game last night, has been out of college for 2 years. He's 23. He went to the game. I mean, what are we doing here, allowing 24-year-olds to play? Well, the COVID year, I get it. 24-year-old basketball players going up against Cooper Flagg, the best young player we've seen since LeBron, who's 17. So my wife, who's a teacher, did the math. And she said that's the equivalent of a senior in high school playing against a seventh grader. I think that's a big topic. Let's get to the final call as Kansas found a way to hold on without their best player and beat the Dukies.
Knipple for the tie. And KU wins. The Jayhawks survive the loss of Dickinson and grind it out in the end. Jayhawks win 75-72.
That's Jayhawks radio. So I think that's a really big topic I want to throw out there. I don't want anybody playing in college after the age of 23 or 22 max. It's garbage. Don't tell me about your COVID year. All right, COVID's been over, or at least it is when it comes to players and eligibility. Give me a break. 24-year-old going up against a 17-year-old in a college game. And this Cooper Flagg doesn't even have to go to college. That's another topic. I don't believe you should have to play in college. I believe you could be Kevin Garnett, LeBron, Kobe Bryant, and go right to the NBA. So this kid last night, who's out of Maine, who plays for Duke as a freshman, is insane. He's unbelievable, and he'll play for the Dukies probably for 2 years before he goes pro. But, and then Fabian says, what about military service? Of course. Of course there's an exception to everything. If you're serving your country and you come back, whatever, normally players are out of college by 22. 23, 24 for Hunter Dickinson is bleeping ridiculous. And the reason why he's playing for Kansas is he's making all this NIL money. So he's making a lot of money playing in college, which is good for him. So he's kind of a professional. But he got thrown out of the game for a kick to the face to a Duke player. And that was a big topic. One other topic before I get out to the phones. Bishop Gorman won another state championship yesterday. And congratulations to Bishop Gorman for winning the game. My problem is, and I'm going to be very honest about this because my son played on a Bishop Gorman high school championship team that won the state, got a championship ring. He was a backup offensive lineman, and he played in the state championship game where they blew out their opponent. Gorman won last night 69-7 in their game. 69-7. This is from Ray Brewer, who covers high school football better than anyone in the country. I was watching him on Twitter last night. He tweeted, already ahead 48-0. Gorman returns the opening kickoff for the second half for a touchdown. But here's the one that really pisses me off. And again, I'm a Gorman dad. Okay, I paid for my kids to go to Gorman. A lot of bleeping money. And it was the best thing I ever did. They got an amazing education. It got them ready for college. It was the best thing I could have did. Ray Brewer tweeted out, Gorman scores a touchdown on 4th and goal from the 4, then recovers an onside kick and scores on the next play to go up 34-0. So they score a touchdown, and then they have an onside kick that they recover. Wow. I mean, I'm sure there's some moms, man, some moms in town that want to call me about this. I'm a big believer, and look, I know this to be true with Gorman also. There are times where they put their subs in. My son was a sub, and he got in and opened up holes the size of a tractor trailer that you can run through. And the running back's going to get the ball, and he's going to try to score. But I'm a big believer in calling off the dogs. I'm a big believer when you're up big to take everybody out, put the subs in. That has never been a strength of Bishop Gorman over the decades. Basketball's different. You know, basketball, they win games by 72 at times. But football's different. They have such an advantage over everybody in this state. They're a national team. They could have won the national championship this year again. Modern day, Bosco, and all that. But this is a dicey topic here about Gorman having to play locally here in town, which you want to play locally. They're an unbelievable program, and you want teams like Arborview and Liberty and Coronado and other schools to have an opportunity to beat them. But most get humiliated and beat badly. So that's a topic I want to throw out today because we got to kind of spread this show out a little bit. It's driving me nuts. I live in Vegas. We got UNLV in the college football playoff discussion. We got Bishop Gorman running up the score. And they'll tell you they didn't run up the score. I've sat in the stands. I've sat in the stands at Bishop Gorman in the third quarter with smoke coming out of my ears going, why isn't my son in the game? They're up 48-0. Why isn't my son in the game? Not yelling it, just with my wife giving me an elbow. Be quiet as I'm talking to her. You know, running up the score for me in any sport is hard. Bishop Gorman will defend. They will defend that they're not running up the score. They're just playing out the game. And there is a debate to that. I'd like your opinion at 702-365-9200. So my conversation with the coach that just finished before I came on with you, and we'll play that coming up here, is that he wants to win. He wants to win in a big way. This is the game. This is probably the game that I look at where this is the toughest game for them to win, right? You would say, what's it? They lost to Carolina, the Raiders did, and Carolina almost beat Kansas City. We all know that Kansas City are the world champs and very good. Fortunately for Kansas City, the Niners look to be irrelevant. By the end of the weekend, the Niners could be out of this at 5-7. So they won't be there in the Super Bowl. I picked Detroit to win the Super Bowl at the start of the year. I'll stay with that Super Bowl pick. But I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to play in a dome. It could be Detroit. I hope the Super Bowl's Detroit-Buffalo. I hope Buffalo beats Kansas City. Everyone in Buffalo, including the buddies who are texting me now, everybody in Buffalo is begging the Raiders to beat Kansas City. So Buffalo, who beat Kansas City, would have the same record and have the tiebreaker. That would mean Kansas City would have to go to Buffalo for the AFC Championship game, most likely. So a lot of people are pulling for the Raiders to win this game. And the only way that the Raiders can win this game is, it sounds like Captain Obvious, but I don't got much for you on this one. They got to keep it close in the second half. They got to have a puncher's chance, 17-14, 21-17, where they've basically been all year. All year long, the Raiders have started out either scoring on their opening drive with the lead. They just had the lead in this last game. They had the lead in a game that I wanted them to win desperately against Denver. They were a 5 point. They were 5 points off in Miami before a broken play touchdown. I'm not a shoulda, coulda, woulda guy. I'm just doing my job. I'm telling you the games that they're in. They're in a lot of these games, but they can't find a way to win it. So I've talked about it with Coach again. Eye candy, stopping Kelsey. We covered it. I did my job. What are we going to do for Kelsey? You'll hear what the coach has to say for that. And then I want to tell you the stats here because the Raiders equip me with a lot of good notes when I'm in the building here. You won't believe this. Kelsey leads the team in receptions. How is that possible? He's on the back end of his prime. He has only 68 receptions. He's the leader. You won't believe who the second receiver on that team is. Xavier Worthy has 28 receptions on the year. He is the second leading receiver when it comes to receptions with 28. I mean, if I just handed you the stats and crossed out and blacked out Kansas City, if I just gave you what I have in front of me and said, look at the stats of this team, what do you think their record is? You'd probably say 3-8. If I didn't tell you it was Kansas City, I just handed you the notes that I have in front of me. The running backs, the receivers, the quarterback stats, nothing really special. I'm serious. And this team has one loss. You got to be kidding me. Why? Because they play better situational football than any team in football. What does that mean? Watch out. Watch out. When this team gets the ball and they defer, when they win the toss and defer, and they get the ball to start the second half, they try to bludgeon you. At the end of the first half, they try to hit you and get 7, and then they try to get the ball back and get 7, and they flip the game 14 points. Or they flip the game 10 points, or they flip the game 7. If I'm the Raiders, if I win the toss, I take the ball. I just take the ball and say, look, we'll get maybe an extra possession on the day. Why would the Raiders defer? I don't know why they would defer. What has proven to you this year that the Las Vegas Raiders getting the ball in the second half? I think the Raiders play some of their worst football starting the third quarter. You would agree, right? I'm a season ticket holder. They come out for the second half. I'm always optimistic, and that's when the lug nuts start to loosen. So maybe they could get the ball and take the ball and score and put some pressure on Kansas City. The game means everything to the Raiders, the alumni, everybody in the building here. They want to win the game. So if you believe that the Raiders should lose every game, if you do believe that, just stay away from me. But number 2, we appreciate you listening. Would you at least admit that you'd want to win this game? I think there is such a minority of Raider fans, such a small amount, that would want to lose to Kansas City. I don't know of any personally, but they find me. They find me on Twitter or Facebook. I don't know who they are, but I've never met a Raider fan in my life, ever. I've been around a while, that says I want to lose to Kansas City. Now, I know there are Raider fans that say, hey, I want to lose out. I want to lose to Jacksonville. I want to get the draft pick. I know who you are. I still have never met a Raider fan who consciously wants to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow. I mean, that would be one of the worst attributes, not just to a Raider fan, but to any fan in sports. Wanting to lose to the world champs who are your rival that absolutely own you almost as we speak. So it would be like the Clippers saying, I want to lose to the Warriors. Oh, really? You want to lose to the Warriors because you want to go from the third ping pong ball to the second? Can you imagine the Bears saying we want to lose to the Packers because we might go from the third pick in the draft to 2? It's never happened. So let's kind of focus on beating the Chiefs. Hear what you have to say about it. And I think we'll have a good show. I'll get out of here for a day, and then we'll jump in, and we'll get going, and we'll have a good show the rest of the week and next week as we play out the rest of the schedule. Hardcore Raider, kick it off for us. Appreciate you calling in. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, JT, just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, as well as everybody at Raider Nation. I know we don't always agree on everything, but I definitely appreciate the platform you guys have given all of us. I do feel like one thing we can agree on is when we look at the Black Friday game when it started last year, that we all felt the Raiders should be in the contention to be like a permanent Black Friday team. And so, when I look at that, I think the Raiders need to put on a real performance to prove that we can hold up to that title in the future. If the Raiders want to have another Black Friday game after this year or after this Friday, we got to really put up a good performance. And I'm excited to see Aiden O'Connell. I was excited to see him before, but unfortunately he got hurt. I think the offensive line is playing better as well as the play calling. So I'm hoping Aiden O'Connell's thumb is doing better, and hopefully he puts on a show for all of us. And I definitely want to see him throw that deep ball, because I feel like if we can get Trey Tucker and those afterburners, then we could all see something good from Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, thanks for the call, buddy. Have a great Thanksgiving also. I'd like to see Aiden come in and play a really good game and get a win here. Last year he won the game on Christmas, didn't have a completion after the first quarter. Who cares? Everybody's talking about Amazon Prime's in the building right now. Amazon's here to talk to Brock Bowers, right? Everybody realizes that the Raiders beat Kansas City last Christmas. They were the last team to win in Arrowhead. So how are they going to do it again? And you want to talk about, a lot of people like Aiden O'Connell, including me. Why wouldn't you like Aiden O'Connell, right? A fine young man, as Tim McCarver would say. You're going to talk about getting thrown in the fire. Wow. You want to talk about getting thrown in the fire. The guy hasn't played in over a month. You throw him into the fire in Kansas City, where half the teams on IR, the Raiders, are injured, and the depth is being tested. The good news for Aiden is we all agree that the offensive line has been better. They're not a great offensive line. They've been better. My guy, Sincere McCormick, I've called a couple of his touchdowns in the preseason. He looks like he's really motivated to run the ball. Because last year, Zamir White had such a big game in Kansas City that I drank the Kool-Aid. I admit it again. Chalk up another JT admitting he was wrong. After that game, when Zamir White ran it down the throats of the Chiefs, how do you think I felt in the offseason? The guy walks by me in the building. His legs are the size of tree trunks. He's got biceps like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. I'm like, man, we got a beast. Josh Jacobs is leaving. Okay, I wanted Josh to stay. But Zamir White is next man up. He looked pretty good. And Zamir couldn't get going this year. He's been injured, banged up. The offensive line didn't do him any favors early in the season. And the Raiders just flat out haven't been able to run the ball. So that's what we got. The monologue is brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. They do a lot. Golden Entertainment around Thanksgiving, the holidays, charity work, giving out food, doing everything that I'm proud to be associated with them. So you'll have a couple of days here to go by and stop by a PT's or a Golden Tavern here. I'm going to be heading out to one of my favorite ones. There's so many good ones in town here that people like to go to. The SG Bar is about 3 minutes from my house. I love going to that to watch football with friends on a rare occasion when I don't have a Raider game, and we won't on Thursday. But they do an unbelievable job all over town. Great American pub, all part of Golden Entertainment and their 70-plus taverns. When we come back, Vinny Bonsignore will join us. We'll talk to Vinny, the insider, about what the Raiders need to do and what he sees as some of the big points. We had a big conversation last week, and he got me and I got him. We talked about the draft and the quarterbacks and how the Raiders are going to play it out. Stay tuned as you can watch Vinny if you just log in now and subscribe for free. JT the Brick YT. Brought to you by Virgin Hotels Las Vegas.
5.
What a great job they did for F1. You're right there, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I got the YouTube feed going, so I'll keep our comments for ourselves. How are you?
I'm good. How are you
Good.
doing?
I'm real good. You got good plans with the family? How's your son doing at UNLV?
He's doing great.
Good.
Big game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Reno. Yeah.
I don't think there's any possible way they can lose to Reno. Other than,
Yeah,
no.
I don't either, but
Yeah.
man, that would be.
Well, for those who are watching too, I got into the Gorman thing last night, putting up 69.
Yeah,
That bothers me tremendously.
Yeah.
It's not awful. I mean, the program is so dominant
Right.
that the holes that they're running through.
yeah.
are pretty good. But you know from your years in LA with Mater Dei
Yeah.
and Bosco and some of these dominant programs, man, that they get, at least in California, when you get to the state championship, you're going to have a war.
Yeah.
You're going to have a
Well,
huge game.
Yeah, and they've tried to separate the private schools from the public schools, at least in their leagues and some of the divisions that they play.
Yeah, quick mic check, please.
Yeah. Check.
Yep, you're on.
That's good,
Yeah,
right?
you're good.
Check.
Yep. Thank you.
Check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in basketball too. In LA basketball, state championship.
Yeah.
I lived in Sherman Oaks. I mean, you just see it on your freaking scroll, on the freaking 6 o'clock news.
Yeah.
And some of the best players,
Oh, of course. The thing with football is you can get guys hurt. Like when you see the Mater Dei against maybe one of the public schools, it's like college almost against high school, and you're looking at them physically going, there's somebody down on the other team that could get hurt in this game because they're just so much bigger and stronger.
Right. Let me put it to you one step further. This Hunter Dickinson last night.
Yeah.
He's 24.
Yeah.
Okay, Cooper Flagg's 17. Now,
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg can hang with him because he's 6'9". But if you're a freshman at Duke and you're 18 and you're going up against a 24-year-old,
Right.
that's ridiculous.
I was just talking to Adam, and Adam said, he didn't really start getting going until that guy left the game. I'm like, but that's a man against a kid
Absolutely.
right now. Like it's just give me 3 years and somebody else is kicking somebody else's ass.
No doubt about it. Yeah. When do you head out?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So tomorrow morning, not tomorrow afternoon. So you're gonna grab.
I'll get in like a 1 o'clock or
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And then you fly back
Saturday.
You fly back Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep an eye on my son's friend who's on Jaden Hicks,
Okay.
safety. He's playing really well.
Right.
He's a pure safety, box safety, intercepted Purdy in the end zone.
Right. Yeah.
I grew up in my backyard. Great kid. Gorman standout.
Yeah.
And Spagnuolo put him in the game early this year, and now he's ready. Practices every day with Mahomes and Kelsey and Spags.
He went to what college did he go to?
He went to Washington State.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I saw him.
Good kid.
Yeah.
I mean, think of how lucky he is. He gets drafted by Kansas City because he drops from the second to the fourth. It's a classic example that we always talk about. Sometimes the team that doesn't take you, you fall.
Yeah.
And you go to a team that's, great. And then the quarterbacks. I know everybody wants to talk about the quarterbacks. We had a good conversation. I replayed it. It was really good what we had last week. You saw Shane was at Colorado's practice at Giants Gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's Antonio Pierce on Travis Kelce. It sounds like a broken record for all of us. You want to stop him, you game plan against him, and he usually has a big game. We are brought to you by our great friends at M Resort Spa and Casino right down the road here from Raiders headquarters. If you're looking for a room, you're looking for dinner, the holidays, go to M Resort Spa and Casino. Vinny Bonsignore joins us. Let's begin. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as you're dedicated. You'll be traveling on the holiday to cover the Raiders.
Yep, absolutely. An early flight tomorrow, which is also my birthday, by the way.
I was just going to get to that.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
But it is what it is, and just beyond happy to be doing what I'm doing. So not a big deal in that regard. And happy Thanksgiving to you too. And and when Antonio Pierce was talking about Travis Kelce right there. I had asked him that question, and the setup was because the Raiders have, I think, someone that everybody can comfortably say is on that path in Brock Bowers. He legitimately is, and it takes a little bit for me to say stuff like that, because we've seen a lot and a lot of great players, and obviously everybody out here is a great player. But then you have that 1% of the 1%. And those are the Travis Kelce's and the Patrick Mahomes and the great players in this league. And when you think about what Brock Bowers is doing right now as a rookie, putting up spectacular numbers, and we don't have to get into it, but the quarterback play has been,
subpar.
Right, exactly. For him to be putting up the numbers that he's doing, second in the league in receptions, the most second highest receptions for a rookie through 11 games, trailing in the history of the NFL, trailing only Odell Beckham. I think the most rookie catches for the Raiders through 11 games, or at the very least, no, I think for a season, like he's putting up historical numbers right now, and he's just getting started. And as Antonio Pierce talked about, you put him with a good quarterback for a long period of time, and we don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully for the Raiders sooner rather than later. The sky's the limit for Brock Bowers.
I make the comparison to Tim Brown. If you look at who Tim Brown played with a quarterback, the list is ungodly. But you saw good players, Jay Schrader, other quarterbacks came around, and you said, well, they were okay, but they weren't Pro Bowlers or elite Pro Bowlers or championship quarterbacks. And then Tim hooked up with Rich Gannon near the end of his career with Rice, and all of a sudden Tim's numbers again, he was always going to be a Hall of Famer, but they started to skyrocket. Very good point you make about Brock, because Brock's going to be in this organization, hopefully, for a really long time. And I'm happy that Tom Telesco has parked him, given him the reps. The coach is getting him the targets, and it's working out really well. But now Gardner, who liked to go to Brock a lot, now Aiden comes back. And Aiden liked to go to a guy named Devontae a lot. I thought Devontae was in his ear a bunch. How do you think Aiden looks with Brock now with a really big opportunity on the road?
Yeah, and they've had at least 1.5 games or so. Forget exactly when Aiden got hurt against the Rams in his second start. So, and they've had a full training camp and OTAs. And if you're Aiden O'Connell, especially now without Devontae Adams, that's the guy who this offense kind of runs through now, and Brock Bowers, and rightfully so. He's that kind of a player. But don't also forget about Jacoby Myers, who I think flashed on Sunday against the Denver Broncos in a major way. And if the Raiders could ever get to a point where they can, balance that out a little bit between Brock Bowers and Jacoby, and then also there were plenty of times when number 11 Trey Tucker was open. We still haven't really seen, this offense in full bloom. But there are players on this team, starting with Brock Bowers, that are good to great NFL players. And I think in Brock Bowers' case, he's going to be great. There are weapons here, and it's just now a matter of kind of putting it all together. And obviously we talk about the quarterback all the time. That goes without saying.
Vinny Bonsignore is our guest, Raiders insider, also our teammate here on Raider Nation Radio. So tell me, you asked the questions in front of Antonio Pierce downstairs, and you also have a relationship, a working one with Tom Telesco. What do you think's going on now? The Daniel Jones stuff, that came and went. I didn't expect him to be here, but Tom Telesco's got to be looking at what next year looks like. Not so much scouting Sanders and Cam Ward. I'm sure they have people in the building doing that, but they got to navigate the rest of the season with a limited roster, signing players to come in, elevating practice squad players. Sincere McCormick's a good example of that. What is he playing for right now and for the rest of this year, considering you would think there's going to be new running backs in this building next year?
Are you asking what Sincere's playing for?
And what Tom's thinking of when he's looking at these practice squad players who are elevated.
Right. Well, what a great opportunity for Sincere McCormick. He went to University of Texas San Antonio and, Conference USA, I believe. So he probably flew under the radar. But if you go back and look at the numbers, freshman year, over 900 yards. Sophomore and junior year, over 1,400 yards rushing. Played post to post, played games, was physical, was just I don't care what level of football you're playing at, and Conference USA is a good conference. To run for almost 1,500 yards 2 straight years and plenty of touchdowns and over 5 yards per carry, that's saying something. And here's a guy, I tell this to people all the time, practice squad player. Well, how good could he possibly be? Well, I'm telling you that they're good.
Yeah.
They're all good. That's why they're here. And so many times it comes down to just opportunity. You look at Sincere, got here in 2020 or 2022, I believe it was his first year here. Josh Jacobs is here. Then they draft, they draft Zamir White. So money, draft status, there's a lot of things that play into why certain guys don't maybe get the opportunity and where they are on the pecking order. But that doesn't mean that they can't play. And Sincere McCormick, I think he showed a lot of people he can absolutely play. And I'm curious to see what that role is going to look like now on Friday. I think it's going to be elevated a little bit. And see what that means for the running game, because he's definitely a natural runner that looked decisive and looked natural picking up yards on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. And I expect that role to increase.
As a national topic with Josh Jacobs of Green Bay, Derrick Henry in Baltimore, and Saquon in Philadelphia, I'll give you the best example. If Saquon stayed with the Giants, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing in Philly.
Agreed.
I mean, Philly, the holes he's going through are huge. The same thing I would say about Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs is a good player, but when you look at the resources and the money that wasn't used for all those players, because they're all getting older, they're not getting younger, they want to go younger. Those are three players. If they would have stayed on their teams, I think the GMs could have said, yeah, I wish we could have had those players back, especially the Giants, because he's embarrassing the Giants. He's putting heat on the GM. The owner's really upset about it. Take me through these big star running backs and how those guys are having a resurgence.
Well, I think you said the key thing. Would they be doing the same thing in their former places? Josh Jacobs, the running game for the Raiders improved when Zamir White took over for Josh Jacobs last year. So it's a little bit of revisionist history. Nothing against Josh Jacobs, because obviously he's the player that he is. But we talk about circumstance in the NFL, and the Green Bay Packers being a better circumstance, quite honestly, right now than the Raiders in terms of the run game. He's got a better quarterback. There's weapons. There's an offensive line. So he's doing his thing, and great for him. Everybody should be happy for Josh Jacobs. That doesn't mean he'd be doing the same thing here with the Raiders. So it's sometimes complicated. Derrick Henry. You look at the year that he had last year, it wasn't close to what he's doing now this year with Lamar Jackson and the weapons that they have and the offensive line that they have. And Saquon Barkley, the same thing. So sometimes things can be a little bit deceiving. They're just in better situations right now, and that's great for them. But that doesn't mean that the teams that let them go or just decided we're not going to put that much money to that running back position right now weren't wrong in their evaluation as well.
Last week, as we wrap it up with Vinny Bonsignore, last week we had a good conversation about Sanders and Cam and maybe the Raiders, how they get one of these quarterbacks. I want to flip it a little bit now and give Aiden the opportunity to win this job, and let's see what he can do down the stretch. But there's going to be a lot of veteran quarterbacks available. And Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones decides on Minnesota, and there are teams who are interested in Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
That was his choice. Well, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' choice too. And his ego is enormous. Tom Brady's going to be in the building here. I'm assuming he's going to have a lot to say about the quarterback. And then Sam Darnold, someone we covered I didn't think Sam Darnold would play after week 4 or 5 because I know how much the Vikings love J.J. McCarthy. When you're looking at the veterans for next year, anybody jump out at you as potentially someone who could be in the building to mentor a young quarterback?
Yeah, well, Sam Darnold jumps to the top for me because, if you're looking at the Vikings right now, not only will J.J. McCarthy be back, hopefully for him healthy, but now Daniel Jones might be that Sam Darnold for them next year. You don't know where J.J. is going to be in terms of his maturation and his development, having missed a year. So you're probably going to need a veteran bridge quarterback. Maybe Daniel Jones is that player and does what Sam Darnold's doing this year, next year, and plays himself into a better situation while J.J. McCarthy gets ready. Well, where does that leave? If that's the direction the Vikings go, where does that leave Sam Darnold right now? And I would think that the way Sam Darnold has played to this point, and I think, we'll see what happens down the stretch and into the playoffs, especially if he can win a playoff game. All of a sudden, he's probably looking at a Baker Mayfield type contract, and I have to go back and look at the numbers. But the deal that Baker Mayfield got from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after doing what he did last year, is that out there for Sam Darnold? And if you're the Raiders and who knows what's going to happen, in the draft, or even if you do get your guy in the draft. Is that an option for you to be that kind of, and the mentor thing is fine, but you also want to win games. And does Sam Darnold right now or next year put the Raiders in a better position? I would contend yes. I still want to see what Sam's going to do the rest of the way, but that's a guy that if you're the Raiders or any team that needs a quarterback next year, that's somebody that has to be on your radar.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were going to say that. You have to look.
Yeah. Especially knowing how, where things might land in the draft. You don't know the Raiders, as Antonio Pierce said, as unlikely as it might be, the Raiders and those players in that locker room and Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, you know what their goal is? Their goal is to win the next 6 games, period, exclamation point. There's no talk about tanking or losing games. They want to win those next 6 games. It's unlikely, but what if they do? And then all of a sudden they're drafting beyond number 10. Now you have to start thinking about, all right, who's that veteran quarterback? And maybe Aiden O'Connell is the guy over these next 6 games to show that it should be him next year. So there's still a lot that can happen. But I think we're being naive and disingenuous not to say that at some point, somehow, some way, whether it's Aiden O'Connell, whether it's Sam Darnold, whether it's a rookie quarterback, the Raiders obviously have to get that position squared away.
Last topic, a fun one. As I was watching the Kansas game last night, I came across our scroll, Blake Snell to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
With your background with the Mets, I'm a Yankee fan. Steve Cohen's got more money. The Dodgers have kind of more money. The topic I want to bring up quickly is these deferred contracts, what they were able to give Ohtani, what the report is going to be here. As a Yankee fan, the Yankees have overspent more than any team in baseball history. But now it's the Dodgers, and the Mets can get into that conversation. We saw the Padres spend. It's an unfair advantage to the mid-market and small-market teams if you let these teams fudge the numbers now and commit $500 million or $600 or $200 million and defer it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think they're going to put a clamp down on this. I think it's going to be outlawed because then the Dodgers can just go to everyone and say, yeah, Soto, we'll give you $600 million. We'll defer it along with that. And then years to come with their other investments, they make that money up. Where do you see that topic going in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, it is an interesting topic. Now, a couple of things. That obviously enhances their cash flow right now because they're not paying the cash until later. That bill will come due.
Like a Bobby Bonilla bill.
It's $900 and something million between 5 players. I think it is. It's not just Shohei or whoever or Blake Snell. But so it does help with their cash flow right now. Another part of that is it doesn't affect the tax threshold. So they're going to be paying taxes now to other teams in the revenue sharing and all that. So they get hit with a hefty bill in terms of that. So it looks like it might be painless for their Dodgers right now, or they're circumventing something, and maybe they sort of are, but they aren't circumventing that part of it. And they are, as of right now, one of the few teams, if the only team, that's willing to go above and beyond and pay that hefty tax bill. Whereas the Yankees, I don't think that they want to operate in that world. The Steinbrenners, they want to win, obviously, like their father, but I think they're also putting business over winning right now. And the bottom line, we'll see about Steve Cohen, because I think he's a little bit of a wild card. He's somebody that has more money than anybody in baseball. He grew up a Met fan, and maybe most important of all for us Met fans, his wife is a huge Met fan too. Exactly. So we'll see where everything goes with Juan Soto. I've been having a nice dialogue with Dylan Laube, who's also a Yankee fan, and I told him we're taking Juan Soto from you, hopefully. But we'll see how it all plays out, because I could say the Met part of me still thinks to myself, it's just coming off a World Series with the Yankees, being part of that illustrious history. How much more money do the Mets need to pay than the Yankees to get Juan Soto to walk away from that?
He's also driving up the price. Steve Cohen is for the Yankees to go pay it. That's also part of it. Please thank your partners for everything they've done. We wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. And likewise, Dos Catas Tequila, you still have time if you're here in Las Vegas, Lee's Liquor or Total Wine, to go stock up on Dos Catas Tequila for the holidays or the game weekend or whatever it is, parties that you're planning. And then also lendingstore.com. For over 20 years, they've helped people get money and into their bank account as early as tomorrow. Just go to lendingstore.com for all the details.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Vinny
you very much.
Bonsignore. Everybody wish him a happy birthday on social media. Take care, Vinny. Thank you so much. When
You
we
too.
come back, we'll jump right in. We got a lot more coming. Levi Edwards next hour will join us, and then we'll jump in with a little bit of our conversation with the great Rich Gannon, as we are brought to you by our great friends at Remy Martin. Have a Remy Martin cocktail on Thanksgiving Day. Remy Martin, team up for excellence. Perfect. I'll walk out with you. Yeah, that was good. I wanted to get you in a little baseball conversation.
I hate that we'd be stealing it from you guys, but
All right, thank you. Take care.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
happy Thanksgiving.
I'm back. Back in the New York groove. What's going on, everyone? We'll get it back to me. Vinny's always good. Vinny is a really good insider, man. He has a lot of good information. How we doing, Bobby? What do you want to do here? Short one? Okay. All right, is everybody behaving on a Thanksgiving? Everybody being a good bricklayer here? Everyone's nice today? No shenanigans, no wise asses? Everyone's good. Look, I got Fabian and Big D keeping an eye on it for me. Stop Kelsey. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy birthday, Vinny. Yeah, if I lock myself out of the booth, I got a key card, man. Look at that. It's a key card. All right. You got a Golden Knights game tonight?
Official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the challenge. I mean, this league, injuries are part of it. Unfortunately, what happened with Gardner, we got a short week, so obviously.
That's Scott Turner on what's up, what's happening next. Look, they're throwing the ball a lot. And that's something Antonio Pierce, I don't think, is in love with. As I interviewed him, you'll hear that coming up next hour. In the Denver game, A.J. Cole threw a pass, remember, on the fake. So you got to count that as a pass. That's 53 attempts, passes against Denver, 43 against Miami. In the last two games, the Las Vegas Raiders are throwing it 70% of the time. Now, you know I love to pass more than run. It's a video game. You get more. But we got Brock Bowers now that makes that clear, but they haven't been able to run the ball. Against Kansas City, of course you have to run. You have to run because you have to wear down Chris Jones. And then you got to get Chris Jones cardio-wise, who's a brilliant player, the best defensive tackle along with Aaron Donald. Look, when it's all said and done, I think Aaron Donald's going to be better than Chris Jones. I could be wrong. It could be Chris Jones. You got to wear him out a bit. You got to keep him on the field, and you got to throw it. The big breaking news today is Daniel Jones is signing with the Vikings, according to multiple reports, including Adam Schefter. So this is a guy that they're going to get for nothing, literally nothing, because he became a free agent Monday after clearing waivers, and the Giants are picking that up. The Vikings are signing Jones for $375,000 for the remainder of the year. That's what Schefter is reporting. And then he's scheduled to become a free agent after the season. So it's a really good offense for him to sit in with and observe, and he might get an opportunity to play. So that's where we're all with that. The Raiders are going to go up against Patrick Mahomes, who has a chance to be better than Brady. I don't think he will be. I think Brady set the bar at 7 Super Bowls. But if Kansas City wins this Super Bowl, that would be 3 in a row, something Brady was never close to doing. In that way, have a real chance of doing it. And they were a dynasty also. So, teams have gone back-to-back. That's hard to do. But to get the three-peat, that's the only thing that can distinguish between the modern era that we're in now all the way back to the old days of Lombardi Packers. The NFL championships that Lombardi won, and then the Super Bowl 1 and 2. Super Bowl 3 went to who? Joe Namath. Right? Didn't go the way that they expected it with Green Bay. Right? After you looked at Baltimore and what Joe Namath was able to do and the merger under Al Davis's guidance, the league has changed. And we played a long time in this league without a three-peat in the modern Super Bowl era. So that's what they're playing for here. I think the Raiders, the problem, I really like the Raiders' chances to be in this game if they had Nate Hobbs ready to start, and we're going to get the injury report. He did not participate yesterday. We'll find out today. And then, obviously, Ja'Cory Bennett. If those two players were at full strength, those are guys, and Jack Jones isn't at full strength with his back. So all 3 of those guys have the ability to jump around, make a tackle, do some good things, especially Ja'Cory going up against Xavier Worthy if he's able to go. I wanted to see that. And I don't like the way the Raiders have been playing on defense in the middle of the field. Tyree Wilson's improving. Max Crosby. The tackles for losses are amazing. Spillane and Diablo are good players. I think Spillane's having a Pro Bowl year. Trayvon Merrick is having a very good season. But when you're down 2 out of your 3 starting corners, or maybe 3 out of them, how are you going to beat Patrick Mahomes? You can't beat Mahomes with rookies and practice squad players all over the place. Now, Isaiah Palomalu's a good player. He's not a rookie. But Patrick Mahomes is a guy who feasts on players who are not experienced in this rivalry. Max is experienced. Many of them are not. So someone's going to have to elevate their game. I'd like to know that player you think can elevate their game and get it going. 702-365-9200. Thanks to Tommy White and the 872 Laborers for building the city and building it out big. Vegas is the sports and entertainment capital with F1, Duke, Kansas, Raiders, Broncos. We're growing, man. All right. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And a quick announcement, we are doing a live stream tonight. It's either going to be at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock Pacific. It's going to be maybe in my kitchen, maybe somewhere in the house. I'll have some Cabernet Sauvignon, maybe a Modelo. And as the music, holiday music's playing in my house, I'm going to do about 30, 40 minutes tonight. I hope you can all be there for that. If you're not there, have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you. I'm thankful for this YouTube page that's growing. Next stop is 10,000, then 20. We're going to take this thing to the top, and you are the originals. I thank you for that.